Hey guys, welcome to JReviews. I am Iceman and the game covered today is Death Stranding. Death Stranding was and continues to be a very divisive game developed by Kojima Productions and was released in November of 2019. For genre, I would classify it as an open world game with simulation elements. It is often described as a walking simulator, which I would somewhat agree with, and we'll go into much more detail on later. It also has a strong horror element throughout. On the story end of things, much on how things are as they are, and the story of it all would lead to major spoilers, which of a game of this type I would never want to ruin, as it is quite good once you have all the pieces. For the purposes of this review, however, I will have to speak on light spoilers in order to explain how things work. What I will say is that the world you live in the game is a result of a large-scale event known as the Death Stranding, where large nuclear-like explosions went off. At first, it was not known as to how or what had caused them, but later was found to be the result of what is referred to as a void out. When a person dies, which spawns a ghost-like entity known as a BT, which if that then comes into contact with a living person, that would result in a large-scale explosion, hence void out. This quickly reduced much of America and presumably the world to rubble, with much of the world's population being killed within a short time period. So this makes Death Stranding an apocalyptic style game, much like the Fallout series in that regard. It also gives Death Stranding a unique angle all of its own where killing is strongly discouraged. Story in the game is told through a mix of cinematic videos and in-game cutscenes. These are all very well done, though for a good chunk of the game you'll have no idea of what in the hell is going on. Much like many of Kojima's past work in games like Metal Gear, Snatcher and others, the story cutscenes in the game often go for long periods of time. Myself being a veteran of many of his earlier games, I went in fully expecting this, but this is something I should warn you of. I don't see it at all as a negative of any kind, but many others may see it in that kind of way. The game has you in control of Sam Bridges, who is a courier of sorts who delivers packages and is known as a porter. He from birth has the unique ability to sense BTs when they are near. He is not a silent protagonist and speaks quite a bit during the game. Sam also has the unique ability to essentially be immortal as he cannot be killed. The feel of this game is very unique. It feels like a mix of many different genres. When you're out exploring the world, it feels like a walking simulator in very much the same way as No Man's Sky does. But then there is the parts with the BTs where it feels more like a survival horror style game, and when you're taking on human opponents it feels more action based, so feels similar to Hideo's prior game of Metal Gear Solid for those aspects. There are several other gameplay elements which I'll delve more into shortly, which again have their own styles to them. So overall the game isn't really one particular style over any other besides possibly the walking simulator aspect. On graphics, this is a major high point of this game. The game world looks fantastic with realistic weather and landscapes. All of the actors portrayed looked exactly like their real life counterparts. This was very well done. Props to the developers on their work on this. In many of the cutscenes it looks like an actual scene with real actors, all of whom voice their parts very well. Music is absent from the game whilst you're out exploring and largely goes for the atmospheric background ambient style, but when in tense situations like in combat or when in danger from BTs, it goes for a horror style feel designed to have you on edge. During the story missions you will hear similar styles of music as well. There is some proper music that plays as you travel towards objectives in missions. This was good for the most part, with actual singing etc., but nothing that I would go and listen to outside of the game. In regards to gameplay, there is many facets to what you do in the game. Some of it is optional, but will help you out later on. So to begin with, the overall gameplay goal is to deliver packages from one point to another. Generally what will happen is that you will go to a terminal, accept a job of either taking a package from point A to B, or going to a location to acquire a package or packages, and then taking it to another point. On occasion, however, your goal may be to build a specific thing, or to beat a boss or escape from an area. One of the first of several gameplay elements to Death Stranding is in the building of structures and building up likes from other players as well as in-game characters. For players, as you build structures and assist in the maintenance of player structures, you will receive likes. These likes from players strengthen your links with them and over time result in their structures appearing in your game and vice versa. To this end, building needed structures in areas is highly useful. It not only helps you directly by building them, but also gets you more likes, which in turn results in even more of other players' structures appearing in your game. For the computer characters in the game, as you complete missions with them, you will increase your reputation. Continuing to do this will firstly allow you to build more structures within their areas, but also unlock new equipment that you can manufacture, as well as upgrades to existing tech. Doing this is extremely useful and in the long term can aid you immensely in various situations. It will also increase the resource limits in their bases, which can further help you with this. Speaking of manufacturing, you'll be doing a lot of that in this game. The bases you encounter in the game come with a set amount of resources. As you travel the landscape, you'll find many resources scattered around that you can either hang on to or choose to give to those bases. This in turn is used in the manufacturing of items. The items that you can manufacture vary from weapons to items and equipment. In regards to items, unlike most games, when you pick up an object it is added to your weight load and is a physical thing that you carry on your back. And as you walk around, your weight load plays a factor in this, as it will make standing upright harder, as well as making it easier to fall over. As such, the more you are carrying, the more likely it will be that you will fall over unless you walk carefully and hold down the buttons which control the steadying of weight loads on you. At first this will take some getting used to, so you will very likely fall over a lot in the early stages of the game. If you fall over, this may damage the packages that you're carrying, and some may fall away from you and need to be recovered. This can be particularly bad if you fall over when crossing a river, as the items will then rush downstream. Your item load will increase throughout the game, and you can later on build exosuits, which can help with both the item loads and to deal with specific terrain types. Speaking of terrain, this is something that you will be dealing with constantly in the game. You'll have rivers to cross, rocks and mountains to traverse, and so much more. You have the choice of either attempting to traverse them, or by building structures like ladders, bridges, roads, zip lines, and so much more. All of these have uses, and the picking of the correct structure to get past an obstacle is very important. Some, like the roads, zip lines, and bridges, will require a very large time investment in order to fully develop. All the while, you will have set limits on how much you can create. These structures, once developed, can really help over time, especially the roads and zip lines. Roads you will not encounter until later in the game, but will require large resource investments in order to restore. Once built, these enable fast vehicle access within points and are extremely useful. The catch is that they require maintenance from timefall damage. Zip lines, in comparison, enable fast movement between 2 points. These work best in mountain regions as well as hazardous regions. Timefall is another unique gameplay aspect to this game. It works by aging whatever it touches, so metal will rust and living matter will quickly age. For structures and vehicles, this means that over time they will get progressively more and more damaged, and so will require repair in order to return them to working order. Timefall factors in with your packages and equipment as well, so you'll need to perform repairs or manufacture replacements when needed, and to check on the status of them to ensure that you don't lose a package or item when it is most needed. Vehicles are something that you'll be using a lot of from the mid-game onward, and each is useful in certain terrains and bad in others. Motorbikes you gain access to early on and enable fast movement, and are really good in rough terrain like rocky regions and steep slopes. They are not good in more watery areas like rivers, however. They also do not provide any protection to you from timefall. Trucks are generally only of use on the roads once built, since they perform terribly in rough terrain and sections with slopes. They do, however, offer full protection to you from timefall and can hold a significant amount in storage. That makes these a must when a large package delivery is required, or for when performing large-scale repairs of your road networks, since you require a lot of resources for those tasks. Traveling is something that you'll be doing for the vast majority of the game, whether it's delivering packages or traveling to locations for a specific purpose. So go into this game knowing that this is what you'll be doing the vast majority of the time in Death Stranding. Besides other porters, the main humans that you'll be running into in the game are what is referred to as mules, which are essentially bandits who want your packages. This is where stealth plays a strong aspect of the game, as it is often best to use this in the early game with them. Otherwise, they will swarm you and attempt to both knock you out and to knock away your packages. Initially, you will be limited to stun weapons to use against them, but will later require lethal weapons, though I strongly advise against using them, as killing them will result in BTs being created, which can make your life an absolute hell, and all of those in the surrounding area as well. Once you have some of the later improved stun weapons in the game, however, mules become less annoying and are far easier to deal with. At the same time, however, their equipment will improve as you delve further out as well. BTs are a unique type of enemy in this game, as it is to do with them that another unique gameplay aspect comes into play, and that is BB. So what is BB? Well, it is essentially a baby in a capsule that you have attached to your chest that can detect and to show to you where BTs are present. It will both give you audio cues when BTs are nearby and to show them on screen. I won't say too much on BB so as not to spoil the story of the game, but all I'll say is that BB is essential when dealing with BTs. BTs themselves are essentially ghosts, which if you get too close to will cause all of your packages to fall, and if not taken care of quickly or escaped from, can cause you to be dragged away to a BT boss creature. These boss creatures, if you lose to them, will cause a void out, which destroys a set area. On my recent playthrough, I was initially scared to hell of these things, as I did not want to cause a void out, but after a while realized that they aren't too hard once you know what to do. Just stay above ground, on a building or object, and you'll be fine when facing them. In regards to bugs, there was some present where the game crashed, but these only occurred a few times, so on that aspect the game was developed quite well, all in all. Overall, I really enjoyed this game. It is truly unique and unlike any other open world game that I've ever played. It is certainly not a game that is for everyone, as some may be put off by the walking simulator aspects, and others may be put off by the long cutscenes that happen in some sections. For me, I really enjoyed it all. I mean, I've played many of other games by Hideo Kojima, so I kind of went in knowing what to expect, though this game in itself does go off in its own direction, which at first I had absolutely no idea at all as to what in the hell was going on in the game. But it is told to you bit by bit as time goes on, and by the midpoint of the game it all made sense and improved exponentially from then onwards. But I will say at the same time, that feeling of not knowing what in the hell is going on is in itself quite good and quite interesting and quite unique with this game. So overall, Death Stranding is a unique kind of game. Not one that I would recommend to everyone, but at the same time I think it is one that many people would enjoy if you can look past many of the walking simulator part aspects to it. It does come down to your own view on what is and what is not a good game. I personally see it as excellent, but I mean, you're welcome to see differently. That's the point of playing games and having different experiences. But I found it to be really unique. It has a totally unique feel to it. You'll go through the game seeing lots of unique things that you haven't seen in other ones. The aspects with the player structures and all that is truly unique. I've not seen that done in anything. I mean, the most I've seen in other games that had cross-player stuff in single player was Dark Souls and Watch Dogs. And even then, that was more like people invading your games and then taking you on. Whereas this is a cooperative approach. You're not trying to sabotage other players, you're trying to help them and they're trying to help you, and you get more likes, which results in other player structures appearing in your game, and vice versa, which is all unique to this game. And that's something that's truly interesting and quite great about the game, in my opinion. So, in other case, so that brings to a close my review of Death Stranding. If you've enjoyed this video and would like to see more videos in this series, be sure to hit the subscribe button, and also just check out my channel for further videos, and you'll find out what else is available. And with that, this is Iceman of JReviews signing out. Guys, have a good one.